I thought it would be important to share or get perspective from those who might use this account or might know those who are. And so with us today, we have a few of those individuals. First, I'm going to ask Holly Roos to come forward and tell a little bit about her circumstances and her children and perhaps what she thinks of the ABLE Act. So welcome, Holly.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Holly Roos, and I'm a very proud mom of Parker and Allison Roos. Parker and Allison could not be with us today, unfortunately. They have school, so I brought along their pictures because I love an opportunity to show off how incredibly gorgeous they are. Parker is now 15 and a sophomore in high school, and Allison is 12 and in the 6th grade. Shortly before Parker's 4th birthday, he was diagnosed with Fragile X syndrome. Just 2 months after that, at the age of 7 months old, Allison was diagnosed. Fragile X is the leading inherited cause of intellectual disability and the leading genetic cause of autism. It's a family of genetic conditions that can affect several generations and affects more than 1 million people in the United States alone. In 2006, with the support of the National Fragile X Foundation, I started the Central Illinois Fragile X Group, a group that I continue to co-lead with Amy Zalesnik from Leroy, whose son Abraham also has Fragile X. Under the umbrella of the National Fragile X Foundation's Community Support Network Group, we provide support for families throughout Central Illinois who are affected by Fragile X. All of our families who are touched by Fragile X will be positively impacted by the passing of the ABLE Act. While there are many incredible joys to raising a child with a disability, there are also significant daily challenges that we face. And while those challenges weigh heavily on my mind each day, it's the future that often keeps me awake at night. The way the law currently stands, individuals with disabilities are forced to live under the poverty line or become disqualified from important federal government programs necessary to their lives. It's completely unacceptable how our current laws are. It reduces a child born with a disability to a lifetime of poverty and dependence. Individuals with Fragile X, just like many with Down syndrome and autism or other disabilities, will likely outlive their parents. Parker and Allison will likely outlive me. Can you imagine trying to sleep at night, knowing that you have no way to save for their future, a future that includes additional expenses because of their disabilities? I can tell you firsthand, you don't sleep at night when you think of those things. The National Fragile X Foundation, along with many other disability organizations, have been very strong supporters of the National Down Syndrome Society, who brought this bill to life. For the past 8 years, I have joined over 100 advocates each year in Washington, D.C. as part of the National Fragile X Foundation Advocacy Day. Fragile X families from all across the U.S. every year go to Washington to meet with our members of Congress, including Congressman Schock, to talk about things that are important in our life. I'm happy that from the first time that we met, Congressman was very eager to be a co-sponsor of the ABLE Act. And each year as I returned, instead of asking for him to do this, I was able to thank him, and additionally thank him for reaching out across party lines to encourage other members of Congress, whether they were Republican or Democrat, to sign on and sponsor the ABLE Act. During a time when Americans don't believe that Congress can agree on anything, our members of Congress have stood strong together supporting the ABLE Act, passing landslide votes in the House and the Senate, in what many have called the most significant piece of legislation affecting those with disabilities since the passage of the American with Disabilities Act nearly 25 years ago. A disability does not care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. The tremendous bipartisan support shows that not only does disability touch everyone's lives, but also conveys that individuals with disabilities should have the basic American rights that we all have. The passing of the ABLE Act will allow my children to hold a full-time job, to pay taxes, and to save for their future. It will allow families to begin to save financially for a stable future for when we are not here to help care for them, without the fear of disqualification from government programs. The ABLE Act will allow individuals with disabilities the ability to be less dependent on the government and more independent. Isn't that what every parent wants? For their child to be a productive member of society, to give back, to save, and to be as independent as possible without penalty. I know that's what I want for mine, and I'm excited that this opportunity will now be available for them. On behalf of the families living with Fragile X and all other disabilities in Central Illinois, I'm very thankful to Congressman Schock for his support and to all of our members of Congress. I look forward to President Obama quickly signing this bill into law so that individuals with disabilities and their families can better save for their long-term care and so that individuals with disabilities disabilities can now achieve a greater level of self-sufficiency.
Thank you, Howard. I'm going to take that down.
No. Thank you for all of your advocacy, year in and year out, and for helping put a very personal face to this story and the heartfelt way you did it. So thank you for being here. And we're sorry the kids couldn't be with us, but they're in the right place. So
Okay.
next we have Cheryl Kissinger, who would also